This video is going to be about what you should know in advance to going on vacation or moving to the UK and Ireland, or Ireland, whichever way you want to go about it. Back in 2011, me and my husband went to the UK and Ireland for 21 days. It was an amazing trip. It was a very long trip, and I think there's just a few things that you should kind of be prepared for if you're going to go. This one's going to seem very obvious. A lot of these probably will, but be prepared for the weather. We left in June, and I'm from Oklahoma. The weather in Oklahoma was 108 degrees when I left. When we touched down in London, it was in the 60s. It did get up to the 80s for about 3 days, but that is extremely rare that it ever gets that warm. It also rains a lot, so you will definitely need an umbrella. The coldest temperatures I found were right on the River Thames. It's very cold. The rest of London wasn't really that bad, but once you get up near the river, it gets really cold, really windy, and it rains a lot. Scotland and Ireland were also very, very cold. We didn't go to Southern Ireland. We stayed up near Dublin, and we also went to the Cliffs of Moher, which was very cold. Very cold, very windy. And you know, if it was just the temperatures, that wouldn't be so bad, but then you add in the wind that's just gusting, and then the rain on top of it, and it makes for some very chilly temperatures. So dress in layers and take a coat. My husband didn't take his coat, stupidly, and he went the entire trip freezing because he refused to spend the money to buy himself a jacket. And finally, in Dublin, at the very end of our trip, I made him buy a hoodie because he was freezing. He was like shivering as we're walking around, and he didn't want to spend the money on it. So definitely take a coat and dress in layers. Bring really good walking shoes. If you're anything like us, we did not want to spend the money on public transportation. We did buy what's it called? We bought a rail pass to get us from town to town because we were going all over the place. We went from London to Hampton Court Palace, and then Liverpool. I can't talk. We went to Edinburgh, all the way up to Inverness, and then all the way back down again to Birmingham. So we bought a rail pass, which was to get us around town through trains. We also bought a Oyster card, which, if you're going to be staying in the London area, you will definitely need an Oyster card. What it does, it lets you go through the subway system, and you just swipe your little card as you're going through. You know, it does cost money, but you will definitely need to take the subway if you're going to be in London. Other than that, we walked. We hoofed it everywhere. I started to get shooting pains down my legs at one point because we were walking so much. My husband's heels were bleeding by the end of the trip, but he took flip-flops, which was just dumb. So take really good walking shoes. Buy some Dr. Scholl's inserts. Cater to your feet, because, you know, it did save us on money and we were on a budget, but there were times that I really couldn't enjoy what I wanted to enjoy because I was too focused on the pain I was feeling. And so, yeah, that kind of sucked, you know. Looking back now, there are amazing memories, but there were a lot of things I just couldn't soak up because I was just in so much misery. It was bad. You always hear that the British have bad food. I always thought it was like a joke. It's not. And I apologize if anybody is taking offense to this, but I really didn't enjoy any of their food. And like here, if you're outside and you're walking around, you can smell restaurants from outside and they smell really appetizing and you want to go in and eat. Over there, it just smells bad. Like, the streets are filled with all sorts of like strange smells. Like, it's crazy how different just the atmosphere is over there compared to here. Everything feels different. But yeah, we did not like their food. I mean, we're both picky eaters, but like, I ordered a steak sandwich in Scotland and it tasted funny. It just didn't taste right. Nothing tastes right. So, and I'm sure you'll get used to it if you stay there for a long period of time, but nothing tasted right to us. So we ate a lot of McDonald's and Subway and Pizza Hut, and it sucked. It did. And they have other fast food restaurants. They have Burger King, they have KFC, but they kind of tasted funny too. So be prepared for that. If you're a picky eater, be prepared because you're not going to like their food more than likely. Keep your things on you at all time. Anything of value, keep it on you at all time or in sight at all time. We were on a train coming from Inverness to Liverpool, and we had both of our passports in this little knapsack that I had been carrying around. And we got up on the train to go get something to drink. We left everything where it was at, and we came back, and everything looked fine. We get off the train, we're fixing to leave the train station, and I look in the bag, and both of our passports are gone. Both of them. So, they got stolen. As a result, we had to spend an entire day at the American Embassy to get new passports, and it cost us about $350. Yeah, not good. Keep your possessions on you at all times. You never know who is watching you, waiting for that moment to strike. It was the worst thing imaginable in our eyes. It was the very end of our trip. We were fixing to leave in 2 days to come home, and we didn't have any passports. It's scary, and it cost us a lot of money. We had just bought our passports right before we left for the trip, so we paid double for passports. And then on top of it, they stretched our pictures out, so when we came back, the guy was looking at our passports, and he kind of looked at us like they were fake because they were all stretched out and funky. So yeah, lesson learned. Keep your possessions on you at all times. Don't put your money in your pockets. Put it somewhere safe. My husband lost 20 pounds because he was just shoving it in his pocket on the street somewhere. It just fell out. And he didn't learn his lesson because in 3 days later he lost 100 pounds. I was about ready to kill him. Put your money somewhere safe. Don't just stuff it in your pockets. Plan ahead what you want to do. Plan it out, write it down, pick which days you want to do it. Make a schedule. We did that for the London area. We bought a sightseeing pass, which allowed us to get into all these different things. It also gave you discounts on restaurants and shopping centers. I think it also gave you some discounts on some bus tours, but I'm not for sure. It was very expensive, but it allowed us to get into so many different things, and we didn't have to wait in line. When we went to Windsor Castle, there was this really long line, and we didn't have to wait in it. We could just go right in. I do recommend getting that, but we had it set up on a chart. We wrote out this chart. We were going to do this and this and this on Monday, and this and this on Tuesday, and this on Wednesday. FYI, if you're going to do the Tower of London, plan for it to be a whole day's event. It takes hours to go through. It does. We had planned 2 or 3 different things on that day, including the Tower of London. Tower of London was all we got to. It literally does take hours, especially if you're going to do any of the tours that are inside. There was also some shows, but we didn't really watch them. But do plan for that to be a one-day event. Another thing I recommend, if you're going to visit Stonehenge, there's only one way to get there, and it's by bus. That's the only way you can do it. And the bus will make a stop at the old town of Sarum. And it's the original town that was in that area before, and I can't remember what town it is now that they have there, but it was the original town. And you have the option to get off the bus and visit Old Sarum before going to Stonehenge. We were the only people on the bus that decided to get off. And I loved it. I loved it. You go up on this hill, and it was hand dug by people back in the 1100s or something. I can't remember when. And you go up on top of this hill, and it's this amazing view of the city. It's so gorgeous. and the grass is just lush and soft and beautiful, and there's these like ruins of the old town that you can look at, and the old castle, or well, it was a castle. It's amazing. I mean, I enjoyed it more than Stonehenge. I definitely do recommend visiting Old Sarum. Highly recommend it. It's amazing. A good way to save on money if you're feeling a little adventurous is to join couchsurfers.com or couchsurfing.com. It is a website, and what you do, you go on there, and it's basically people that are willing to let you stay in their homes for free for a duration of time. A lot of them will have guest rooms. Some will let you sleep on their couch. I do recommend it. If you're a single female, though, I would not recommend it. It's too dangerous if you're a single female by yourself. But we joined the site, and we have hosted somebody from South America for like a night a couple years back, which was very, very neat. And we only stayed with one person while in the UK. It was in Ireland. No, it was in Scotland. He was from Ireland. And while it wasn't exactly ideal, it was a great experience. And it was free stay. He even fed us a dinner. And it's a good way to meet the locals. A lot of them will give you tours of the city. It's a great experience, and it saves money. Definitely, if you're feeling adventurous, sign up for that. Couchsurfing.com. Also, you can stay in hostels. People are terrified of them, I know, because of that movie, but they're not bad. They aren't bad at all. I did not have any problems with the hostels at all. A lot of them have kitchens and entertainment rooms and showers and everything. And it's cheap. So I definitely recommend it. You can also, they have private rooms at hostels. You don't have to share a room. It's going to be more expensive than the shared rooms, and you don't get your own bathroom, but it's cheaper than a hotel. And they also have like discounts on tours and stuff at some of the hostels. So yeah, I try it out. I mean, if you have kids with you, I would not do that. But if it's just you and your friends, or you by yourself, or you with your wife or girlfriend or whatever, try it out. Try it for a night. See what you think. If you are planning on going to Ireland, especially if you're going to go to Northern Ireland, be very careful. Be very careful. We were originally going to go to Northern Ireland for like a day. However, while we were there, there was a lot of protests going on and things like that. So we decided against it. We didn't think that it would be safe. And I'll never forget, we were in Dublin one day, and we were just walking down the street, and this guy, he was clearly intoxicated. He was drunk. Just walks up and starts talking to us, and he's talking about how he's from Northern Ireland. I think he was from Derry. And he starts going on and on about how the British government's after him, and there's all these conspiracies going on. Like, just talking crazy. And so we try to walk off, and he grabbed my arm, like, as we were trying to walk off. And, like, he kept talking to us. I mean, eventually we did get away from him. But it was just a crazy experience, like, talking about conspiracies, and the government was after him, and he's, like, in hiding, and it was weird. So if you are planning on going to Northern Ireland, be careful. Make sure it's worth it. I mean, we would have loved to have gone. It would have been a great experience, but it's not exactly the most stable area. FYI, your cell phone will not work in the UK. Won't happen. You will not be able to pick up any signals from their towers. So, if you need to make a phone call, which you probably won't be, you will have to use a payphone. Also, if you're going to take your laptop, you are going to have to buy an adapter. It's not very expensive. I think we paid like £14 for our adapter that we bought. We just bought it at a mall, just this local mall. We used to walk through it to get from our hotel to the subway station. Yeah, you're gonna have to have an adapter. If you're gonna take a hair dryer or a curling iron, anything that has to be plugged in, you have to buy that adapter. It's this big bulky thing. It's quite large. Airplanes suck. They suck. You think they're fun, or maybe you're terrified of them. It just sucks. I could not sleep on the plane at all. And the guy next to me was like masturbating as the plane went off. I kid you not. He was masturbating. This young American guy. And like we each had our own blanket and like pillow. And I glance over at him and he's thrown the blanket over his body completely, head to toe. And I'm seeing this like movement under the blanket. And so I get my husband's attention. I'm like, is he doing what I think he's doing? And he kind of like looked at him and he was like, unbelievable. Masturbating as the plane went off. And then like another time I was trying to sleep and he elbowed me in the eye. I don't know what he was doing, but he elbowed me in the eye. It was an amazing trip though. I loved it. I loved it so much. There was so much that I got to see. So many people we met. Just everywhere you go, it's amazing. And if you ever get a chance to go, even if it's just for a few days, try to see as much as you can, because there is so much, especially in the London area, so much that we didn't get to see, and we saw a lot while we were there, but it's amazing. And if you get the chance to go, I hope you have an awesome time. It's incredible. And if you need any tips on how to save money, or maybe there's something you want to see but you don't know if it's worth seeing, shoot me a message. I'm here to help. There's a lot that I didn't get to see, but there's a lot that I did get to see. So yeah, just don't hesitate to ask. I'm definitely here to help. My husband, he's also been all over Europe, so he knows a lot about traveling. So yeah, and I hope this video helps you. A lot of it's common knowledge, like keeping your possessions on you at all time, but sometimes you just don't think when you're just hanging out like on a train. You just don't think. So I hope this helps.